and welcome to another edition of the Nationals Daily Show. I'm your host, Miss Chatter, and who am I kidding? It's the first one. With all the complaints about Masson being Baltimore-centric, not having any sports news, and so far no Nationals news shows dedicated strictly to the Nationals, I'm giving this a whirl. So cue the applause, come on, come on. I'm not Jon Stewart, but I'm trying here. Don't mind the hat, it's very cold out. Yes, we are in the middle of winter, which finally arrived, which means the Nationals caravan is actually hitting town, and another town, and another town. Hopefully someplace near you that you can sneak out of work or school for to visit. Starting on Monday, January 22nd, the Nationals, including pitcher Mike O'Connor, third base phenom Ryan Zimmerman, new manager Manny Acta, big draw right there, the racing big-headed presidents, Charlie Slows, Dave Jagler, Bang Zoom, and I feel like I'm missing someone here. Let me check Basil's site. He did a better write-up on it than I did. Center fielder Nook Logan, that's who I was forgetting. Sorry, Nook. One of these days I'll get used to you. And Screech. But, according to Screech's best friend, who shared a little secret, Screech is going to be phased out a little bit, with less emphasis on him and more emphasis on the way cool presidents, but we have to hope that poor Teddy will finally win a race. So, Monday, January 22nd, 10:30 to 12:30 p.m., Adopt a School program, announcement and autograph session at Kimball Elementary School in Washington, D.C. From 2 to 3 p.m., autograph session at ESPN Zone in Washington, D.C. That's the one you should probably try to get to. Alright, big news. Ramon Ortiz, who will be lovingly remembered for his near no-hitter against the Cardinals on Labor Day, has signed with the Twins. There's speculation among the atmosphere about whether or not we should have offered him arbitration. If you're watching this podcast, videocast, whatever you want to call it, then I'm sure you're doing it off of my blog, which means you're wholly familiar with Nationals Farm Authority, which can be found at farmauthority.dcsportsnet.com. Brian Oliver has your full recap of all of the minor league signings with invitations to spring training and the Latin American signings, including 4 in Venezuela and a few more Dominican players recently. God, I suck at this. How do sports people do it? I just feel like an idiot sitting here talking to a camera. I need a guest host. So would anyone like to volunteer to be my guest anchor for this daily Nationals show? Nationals Daily Show. Boy, I can't even get the name right. Anyway, heading into spring training, there are a lot of question marks around the starting rotation. If you take a look at the pitchers, there are actually quite a lot of them. Of course, everyone is hoping John Patterson is healthy. Behind him, well, we have Sean Hill, I see a lot of bullpen guys, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of starters. The Nationals recently signed a few pitchers who did not pitch last year or did not pitch too well last year, hoping that the reasons for that have resolved themselves. Spring training should be very interesting to pay attention to. We recently received news that Nick Johnson has undergone surgery again to remove 2 screws from his right leg after the horrific collision in right field between him and Austin Kearns. Has anybody asked how Austin Kearns is doing? Because I'm really curious how his off-season has been going and how he's feeling about returning to spring training. Anyway, odds are Nick Johnson is not going to be ready by opening day and probably not up to full speed by spring training. He still walks with a limp and he still has pain. So his start could be delayed by a month or 2. In the meantime, Robert Fick, the jokester from last year, has been re-signed to the Nationals and will be going to spring training as a potential backup for first base and the catcher position. Also, Larry Broadway, who was a touted prospect in the Nationals farm system, has reportedly not been hitting too well during winter ball. So the Nationals signed Travis Lee, a former Tampa Devil Ray, coming off one of the worst seasons of his career. He plays first base and is 31 years old. The Nationals also signed 37-year-old Tony Womack, I just love it when a player is older than I am. It makes me feel young. He's a utility infielder. He'll be competing for the bench position with Melvin Dorda, Bernie Castro, and a slew of others. Tony Blanco, in the meantime, was outrighted to AAA. There are 71 players, including 31 non-roster invitees, attending spring training next month. Tomorrow is the Potomac Nationals Hot Stove Banquet, which is very exciting. I will be attending, as will Nationals Farm Authority, so hopefully we'll have some new and potentially exciting news for you after that. Proceeds from the silent auction sales of donated items will benefit the ZIMS Foundation, the nonprofit that Ryan Zimmerman set up for battling and finding a cure for multiple sclerosis. You know, this was a lot harder than I expected it to be. So that concludes our first edition of the Nationals Daily Show. Woo! Woo! And depending on the feedback, I may never do this again. Till next time, bye!